hook up the walkie-talkie to the radio in the treehouse.
Luca heard a group of footsteps approaching. He dashed behind the bushes to avoid being spotted.
So, we all understand our rules. You can count on me. I still think we need more time. This wasn't the original plan.
Mr. Tolliver paused, shifting his eyes to one side.
We're all in danger now. I, for one, refuse to sit idly by while that danger persists. Refuse. Hiram, you just keep your wits about you.
Mr. Tolliver took one long, quiet breath.
You're right. You can count on me. I just wish we could have made that deal with the heiress Valentine. Her resources would have come in handy. As I said, I had no time to contact her after your call this morning. Plans change. How is Luca holding up? He's fine. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that this is all... I know very well what all this is for. We have no choice. Operation Sparkplug has a new objective. Are we in agreement?
The three shared a determined look.
Good. We'll reconvene after the festival. Fran, why are you meeting with Mrs. Fratelli and Mr. Tolliver late at night? Hey, Luca. You scared me. How long have you been there? Oh, just a few minutes. Earlier today, I saw Mr. Tolliver and your Gran enter the diner together. When my shift at the newsstand was over, they still hadn't left. So I used the greatest tool of any investigative reporter. Time. When they left, I tailed them here. What do you think they're up to? Whatever it is, they seem organized and determined. They mentioned the festival. Yeah, I heard that too. Has your Gran been doing anything differently recently? Anything strange? She got a phone call this morning and rushed out the door. A call from Hiram Tolliver, it seems. She was either furious or terrified. Or both. Luca, be careful out there. I think we might be in the middle of the scoop of a lifetime. I will. Aren't you coming out? I'm going to stake out here for a little bit longer. See ya, Luca.
The road leading to Beacon Pines was long and uninspiring, a sort of natural barrier for the impatient.
I did it. I changed the sign. Splendid. Did anyone see you? I don't believe so. You were right. It was simple enough to just rearrange the letters. Odd choice for a prank, though. In situations such as these, odd is
The
good.
two boys shared a mischievous grin.
I can't wait for everyone to see the big reveal. It should be quite memorable. Let's make ourselves scarce for now. Mission control. Authorized personnel only.
Luca tied a shoestring to the hook. What fish could resist a nice shoestring?
Where do you think the other one is? Hard to say. Sometimes things drift away. That's not fair. No, it's not. Well, wherever it is, I hope that other boot at least has a sock to keep it company.
Luca tied a small magnet to the line, fishing with the law of attraction.
Where do you think the lock is for this key? Now, why would we want to find that? Because then we would know the secret. Ah, that's no fun. The second we know what it unlocks, it just becomes a boring old key. Right now, this key could unlock anything. Ooh.
Luca placed a sinker on the line. Sometimes the best stuff is at the bottom of the pond.
Malice 80 proof whiskey. A hard liquor for a hard man. Best leave that be. Takes a real piece of work to leave something like that laying around. Rollo? Rollo? Are you there? I'm at the treehouse now, Rollo. Mr. Kerr said you were all right. What happened out there? Dang it, Rollo, where are you? Who's there?
Luca could only see a cloaked shape behind the rocket.
I got weapons in here. So you better come out right now.
He strained to hear as a muffled voice began.
Weapons? How could you hurt something that's already dead?
Fear gripped Luca's throat.
Who are you? What, you don't recognize me? I guess I don't even recognize myself anymore.
Luca stared at the ground for a moment, trying to place the dampened voice. The figure shifted slowly from behind the rocket, revealing itself to Luca.
I'm a monster. And now they hunt me like a beast I am. Iggy?
Luca reached over empathetically. Iggy's tone jolted to dejected anger.
Don't touch me. This is all your fault.
Luca slumped to the ground, overwhelmed by guilt.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I lost control. So you couldn't control yourself for a second. And I get to be like this forever. There must be a way to fix this. Oh, you gonna be my savior? Perfect little Luca saves the day. With his positive attitude and the power of friendship. None of this matters. There's no time. They're after me. They chased me all through Weepwood. I only came in here to hide. Hide from who? Who's after you? Luca! Luca! Rollo? It's not safe! Luca! Rollo, where are you? That treehouse! I'm at the treehouse, Rollo. Where are you? No, Luca, the treehouse isn't safe. They said they were going to the treehouse. I'm trying to tell you to stay away from the treehouse. Who said they're going to the treehouse? The clipboards. What did I tell you? Those perennial harvest wackadoos are after me. They've been chasing me, yelling questions at me. What sort of questions? They were saying the same stuff they always do. But it's different now. Less asking, more threatening. We're gonna figure this out, Iggy. Yeah, well, thanks. Hello? Is anyone present in this Aberral domicile? Crap, they found me. Luca, what's happening? Don't panic, you stay here and I'll see what they want. Hello, Mr. Van Horn. We would love to hear your thoughts. Do you have time for an informal chat? We will be brief. Your time is valuable to us. Be down in just a second. Of course, of course. We have a problem. Luca, you gotta get out of there. Who's out there? Is it them? Yeah, it's the clipboards. A bunch of them. How many? Maybe all of them? And yeah, you were right. They are saying the same stuff, but with the creepy knob cranked to 10. Might young Iggy be present? We would love to hear his thoughts. Run!
Iggy slumped to his knees.
I don't know what to do. I'm just so tired. Luca, what do we do?
Luca grabbed the walkie-talkie and headed for the window.
Follow my lead.
Luca and Iggy climbed up the back of the treehouse to its roof, where Rollo had constructed his MCDC, the Mission Control Defense Cannon. From behind the crowd of clipboards, William Kerr strode forward, a warm smile on his face.
Iggy, there you are. You gave all of us a heck of a scare. Go away. Just leave me alone. Oh, I'm sorry, Iggy, but no can do. Don't worry, though. We're here to help. Help? Then why are you chasing me? Luca, can you talk some sense into your pal here? Just look at him. He's not well. What's wrong with him? What did that gunk do to him? Well, that's a pretty honkin' big question, Luca. All you need to know is that he's sick. He's real sick, Luca. I just need you to let us up there and take care of him. You told me Rollo was okay, that he was back at his place resting. He is. Poor fella just got a little lost. That's a lie. That is a hurtful thing to say, Luca. I thought we were buddies. Why, because he lets you ramble on like a wackadoo? Nobody likes you, you creep.
Kerr's smile faltered.
Why don't you pop on down here so we can have a face-to-face? Yelling like this is gonna give us all a heck of a sore throat. And who wants that?
Luca's grip tightened on the MCDC.
What did you do to Rollo, you liar? Well, shucks, Luca. The only teeny tiny fib I told you was that he was at home. He is resting, and he is perfectly safe. For now, at least. What happens to him next is up to you, Luca. Look around. You're in quite the pickle, and I'm the only person in the whole wide world who can help you. You get to decide how this ends.
Luca's mind raced. He was caught in a trap. What do you do when there's no hope? Iggy wiped his cheeks with a sleeve. What are you gonna do, Luca?
Luca drew himself up and decided to take the only option that they had left. He was going to fight.
Luca drew himself up and decided to take the only option they had left. Fight. He swung the mission control defense cannon around, aiming it confidently at the smirking face of William Kerr.
Hey, Mr. Kerr.
Luca summoned his most insolent demeanor.
Rollo sends his regards. Hey, that was uncalled for. Wasn't a little rude. And just plain unsanitary. Luca, I really did think we were good pals. What a shame that it's come to this.
Kerr turned his back on the two boys.
And this.
With a nonchalant wave of the hand, he made his exit. As the clipboards began to slowly advance on the treehouse, Luca looked to Iggy with resignation in his eyes. The end. That escalated quickly. Maybe discretion was the better part of valor here. Let's put a pin in this for now. This is a story about struggle. Luca could hear a machine humming somewhere nearby. He felt around wildly, searching for something, anything that could help. His hands found a hard object, maybe a tile? He yanked it free, lifting the cold stone. Let me go! Luca swung the tile as hard as he could at the shape that still held fast to his leg. He heard the crack of glass as the stone hit the assailant's mask. With a muffled yelp, the hand let go. Luca was free and scrambled to the door. He never looked back once on the long run home. Chapter 3. Everything's fine. The next morning, it was quieter than usual at the breakfast table. Only the sound of silverware and chewing interrupted the awkward silence.
I just finished drawing a mess of jam last night. So that'll need to get delivered into town today. Okay. So what did you and Rollo get up to yesterday? Oh, Rollo had things to do, so I just sort of poked around town. I've set the jam down by the front door. There's 2 batches to drop off. One for Mr. Tolliver at the Bag and Wag. Another for Miss Fratelli at the diner. Oh, and Mr. Nuncreed. He said he wanted some. I suspected as much. Yes, he seems to have taken a particular interest in my jam. There are some extras in the basket for that enthusiastic gentleman. Just make sure Fratelli and Tolliver get the ones on top. No problem. Off with you now while the day is still young. Hello, it's Juniper Hartford. Before you hang up, just hear me out. I have a business proposition. The simple matter is we both have the same problem that needs solving. Very well, we can meet tonight. Okay. Sorry about yesterday. Roxy can be so annoying. But good news, no more boring chores for me today. Did you make it to the old Valentine warehouse? So, what did you find? Give me the dirt. Something happened. There was someone else there. What? Who was it? Was it aliens? I knew it'd be aliens. No. Zombies. No. Alien zombie? What else could it possibly be? Rollo, I gotta deliver these into town first. We can catch up after. Ooh, is it a whole thing? Sounds like a whole thing. Yeah, we shouldn't talk about it here. Meet me at the treehouse tonight. I'm not sure what this treehouse is that you speak of. Meet me at Mission Control. Roger that, Space Cadet. Mr. Wilder, I trust you have time to chat?
Eris Valentine, oldest of Sharper Valentine's children, and heir to the Valentine fortune, had a way of making questions seem like demand.
Certainly. What seems to be the problem?
Mr. Wilder had learned to assume that if he was hearing from Eris, it was because she had taken issue with something he had put in the paper.
I couldn't help but notice that the front page of this morning's paper was consumed with stories about this silly festival. Well, yes, that is the news of the day, but there was no mention of the museum, nor the foundation through which it was endowed. I'm sorry, Miss Valentine. My readers are more so interested in this town's future rather than any one family in particular. There was a time, Mr. Wilder, when the goings-on of my family was the only thing this town cared about. Well, things change, ma'am. And you know, change is dangerous. If you finish that thought, I will make that monocle a permanent fixture of your anatomy. My apologies. Good day, Miss Valentine. Did I give you the impression this conversation was finished?
Mr. Wilder averted his gaze and began to polish his monocle.
Well, good day, Mr. Wilder. Well, if it isn't my favorite little jam runner. Hey, Mrs. Fratelli. Look at you.
She leaned forward and pinched Luca's cheek.
You're all skin and bones. Is your gran not feeding you? He is. It's just... I understand. You know, I taught your mama how to cook back in the day. You may not even remember, but you and her used to help out in the diner. See that picture over there? That's you helping your mama back in the day. How cute, running around in your little apron taking orders. The whole situation just breaks my heart, what happened with Eleanor. I got a feeling she's out there somewhere, earning to be with you again. Few things in this world can keep a mother from her son.
Luca shifted the basket uncomfortably.
Ah, yes, let's see here.
Mrs. Fratelli lifted the cloth and inspected the jam.
Ah, they even have my name on them. How thoughtful.
She carefully lifted out her jars of jam.
You tell your gran hello for me, Luca. Will do. I could just be left alone, young Mr. Van Horn. Oh, sure. Sorry to bother you. It's just that Mr. Kerr has asked me to make the opening speech at the festival. Being mayor and all, you might expect me to be a charismatic speaker. The truth is, I'm terribly nervous. I really don't think I'm cut out for this sort of thing. Cut out for being mayor or for public speaking. Both, I suppose. I never really chose any of this. It's more of a duty to my family, for our legacy. That sounds like a heavy burden. As for the festival, just speak from your heart. I'm sure it'll be great. Dawn. Hey, Luca, what's up? They got you on jam delivery, eh? Yup. Have you seen the new kid around yet? New kid? Yeah, came in from the big city. Our parents both got jobs here. But get this. One of them is working for William Kerr in the Perennial Harvest. And the other is working for Eris Valentine. And the Valentines represent Beacon Pines' past. Perennial Harvest has positioned itself as this town's future. Must make for some interesting dinner table conversations. I can imagine. Last Chance Diner.
Huddled at his counter, Hiram Tolliver was meticulously shining apples. More accurately, Hiram Tolliver was meticulously shining one apple.
Hello?
With a yelp, Mr. Tolliver fumbled the apple, flailing at the air as it fell.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no bother, no bother.
He leaned forward and lowered his voice.
I see you have something for me. Yeah, Gran had some jam I'm supposed to give you.
He leaned in a bit further.
Jam? Yeah, these ones on top? She wrote your name on them.
Mr. Tolliver leaned back, speaking loud enough for anyone to hear.
Ah, yes, the jam. Thank you so much for delivering this jam to me.
He reached forward and snapped up the jars of jam, giving Luca a little wink.
I shall put it on my store shelves post haste. Okay, I should finish my deliveries. Of course. Of course.
He leaned in for a final whisper.
Of course. How do you keep the ice cream cold? We keep them on ice. Where do you get the ice from? I don't know. Somewhere cold? How do they keep somewhere cold? Cold. Look, Bert. Do you want some ice cream or not? No, I'm good. Got some jam for you, Mr. Nuncreed. Luca, you seem chipper. Well, aside from being on delivery duty, it's a nice day.
Mr. Nuncreed eyed Luca for a moment, then nodded in agreement.
I suppose it is. So, do you want your jam? Oh, right. Usually Juniper drops those off herself. I guess she's busy today. Anyway, this is my last delivery for the day. Oh, in that case,
Nuncreed snatched the basket from Luca.
I'll hold on to the basket until the next time I see your Gran. Hey, you. Anchovies or pineapple? What? Don't think. Just answer. Pineapple. Why? How old are you? Well, perfect. Follow me. Who are you? Anyone ever tell you ask too many questions? Just try to keep up, okay? What just happened? Well, hey, what a crazy coincidence! Here's my new friend I was just telling you about. Oh, that's wonderful! Yet we just hit it off. Oh, really? Get this, his favorite pizza topping in the whole world is pineapple. Oh, and what is your new little friend's name?
Beck locked eyes with Luca. The look on her face was equal parts expectant and desperate.
Luca Van Horn, nice to meet you. I'm Nellie. We're Beck's parents.
Beck gave Luca a quick nudge.
Oh yeah, Beck told me all about you. Already feels like we've known each other for years. So you both can stop obsessing about me making friends. Oh, darling, we never doubted you. It's just that for children with fewer than 5 close friends, the probability of a stunted development doubles. Well, 1 down, 4 to go. What Nellie means is that we just want this move to be as easy on you as possible. You can relax. A friend has been friended. This calls for a celebration. Luca, you must join us for dinner tonight. Dinner? Wow, another coincidence. I actually already asked him and he said he would love to. It's just wonderful. In that case, we should pick up some groceries. You two don't get into too much trouble now. Oh, I can't believe that worked. Thanks a ton. You're welcome? I owe you one. My moms are great and all, but they can be a bit much sometimes. Our house is the little cottage next to the big mansion place. Wait, you live on the Valentine Estate? Yeah, that's the spot. Meet me by their big creepy gate. Don't be late. Or I'm back to square one on this whole friend gift. On this whole friend grift. Great. See you there. Meet Beck at the big creepy gate. Sharper Valentine, a celebration of excellence.
Beacon Pines is a great town. What you may not know is great towns grow from mighty roots. And that is why you cannot tell the story of Beacon Pines without telling the story of one Sharper Valentine. Young Sharper's keen intellect and strong moral fiber led to a grand vision. A vision of a community dedicated to a better tomorrow. In his own words, a better tomorrow is within our grasp, but it requires a singular mind to harness it. Lucky for us, he decided to grow that vision here, in Beacon Pines. And how does one grow a better tomorrow? With fertilizer, of course. Valentine's Fertilizer Company became the lifeblood of a town yearning for purpose. But then tragedy struck, a scientific experiment gone wrong. An accident which took Sharper away from us far too soon. To this day, we struggle to pick up the pieces. But one foul harvest isn't enough to stop the people of Beacon Pines. The spirit of Sharper Valentine lives on. It lives in the hearts of everyone with a dream for a better tomorrow. Together, we will follow his example and grow a bountiful future. Paid for by the Valentine family and the Valentine Fertilizer Company Remembrance Fund.
That was unhelpful. Good morning, Jeff. Wait so good about it. Another day further down the tubes, if you ask me. Come on now, it's not all bad. The festival is coming up. Ugh, the festival. Old man Valentine used to put a cockamamie shindigs all the time. And where did that get us? Well, it's Perennial Harvest putting on this one. And they're doing it for the whole town. As far as I see it, the difference between the old Valentine Company and this new Perennial Harvest outfit
Jeff dug through his pockets for a bit.
is the difference between this empty soup can and this brown banana. But those are both garbage. Exactly. lives in that house. Eris and Gus Valentine grew up there. And Solomon moved in a few years back. The creepy little kid in the vest? That sounds like the one. So just 3 people live in that huge thing. But a bunch of shady stuff happens all the time in a place like that. Not really. The Valentines keep pretty much to themselves. So it's empty and boring? Pretty much. What a waste. My mom says that it used to be way busier back before Sharper died. Before the foul harvest. Okay, that's like the 5th time someone mentioned this foul harvest thing. And you all use that same ominous tone. Eventually, you're going to explain to me how that harvest got all fouled up. But we can't keep my parents waiting anymore. This way.